All right, everyone. Hello and happy Wellness Wednesday to you. Hope you guys are doing well. I am here with my client, Lauren. Lauren, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
Thanks so much for being here today. So I wanted to celebrate Lauren today and tell you a little bit about her results and her perseverance that she's had through this crazy pandemic that we have been having. So, Lauren, do you want to start by just kind of introducing yourself a little bit and tell people a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Lauren. I am living in Westchester right now with my husband and two kids. I have a 3-year-old and I have a 21-month-old. So yes, my kids are 16 months apart. So anyone out there with similar age children, I feel you. Um, and I essentially came to Rachel because I was desperate for help. I pretty much stopped taking care of myself as soon as I had my son a few years ago, 3 years ago. So I just had stopped working out. I was constantly stressed. And I have a history of GI issues in my family, and I have them as well. So I knew something was going on when I wasn't feeling so great. But I just really didn't feel like I had much to to do. I just kind of felt like I had to keep eating healthy and didn't really understand why I wasn't losing weight. I had zero motivation to work out and did not feel like I was ever going to be a person who liked to work out. And so, again, I was kind of in a place where I just didn't really know what to do or who to turn to. And so I thought I really needed some help from a professional that knew what they were talking about and not just me Googling things. So that's when I reached out to Rachel.
Awesome. And I'm so glad that you did. So let me see here. I had some questions I wanted to ask you. So really kind of what was the breaking point for you and what were you really struggling with that led you to kind of make the call and reach out to me?
I think I was starting to really lose my cool with my kids, and I was so stressed with everything. But it was mostly that I just didn't feel very good in my own skin. I was the heaviest I'd ever been, and was embarrassed about that. And I'm 5'10", so I could definitely carry some more weight, but I just didn't feel good about it, And I kind of was starting to get resentful towards my kids that, I didn't have any time for myself. And, it just was, my daughter was a surprise and a happy surprise, but I just felt like I never got to catch up, like once she came into the picture, it was like I just felt like I was like moving at full speed ahead and like had no time for myself, and it's how it was always going to be. So I was really struggling with weight, struggling with being motivated at all to work out, like I had mentioned before, and then definitely struggling with stress, and just having like a variety of symptoms like brain fog and fatigue at like 2 or 3 o'clock. And I'm juggling a full-time job as well as my kids being home. So just like I was struggling with time management and how to figure everything out and get it all done in a day and also give myself some time. So
Yeah, yeah. And I think we started working together right around, I think it was right after 4th of July. So it was during the pandemic, right? So
yeah, I almost feel like that was one thing that was good that came out of this was I felt like it slowed it down finally, where we weren't doing a million events for school or seeing as many friends. So it was like I finally it was like staring me in the face, like, okay, it's time to do something for yourself.
yeah, kind of created the opportunity,
So
right? Can't
yeah,
do
it created
anything,
an
but
opportunity. It was actually a good thing. And, hey,
you can at
just a
least take
small
care of
piece.
yourself a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Um, and was there anything like, when we went through and kind of told you about how I kind of work with people, was there anything that almost made you like not sign up? Did you have any reservations in your mind?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was definitely worried about just the time for it and like would I sign up for this and like, not really be able to complete what we talked about, in any sessions. And then I also hadn't talked to anyone like yourself before, so I didn't really know what to expect. And the only thing I really could compare it to was like with my son, we would hire sleep consultants, like, for kids. And so I felt like, I was worried, like, would it be something similar where it's like we hired like 3 different sleep consultants, all with the same answers. And yet my son still never slept for the first, 6 months of his life. And so I was just like, I was worried, is this going to be the same experience where, you know, this person's going to give me a lot of good information, but like nothing that's actually geared towards me specifically. So it's like, how do I really put any of this into practice because it's not specific and tailored to my life, you know? So I think that's what was kind of holding me back at first. But obviously I'm glad that we started that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think that's probably helpful for people to hear too, you know, which is normal with any time you're kind of making an investment, both financially and with your time, especially when you're super busy. It's like, it's got to be worth it. So, yeah, super helpful to kind of hear that perspective on things. And so you also mentioned like someone like me. So is that because of the functional medicine piece of it, or just in general with kind of the nutrition coaching and personal training type thing?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't find when I was researching, I was looking for a nutritionist. That's how I started. I was like, I need to find a nutritionist. I didn't really even think about the personal trainer piece, but I didn't find too many individuals like yourself that had all that in their background plus functional medicine. And I always, like I said, was kind of concerned. I had some GI issues in the past, like, did it come back? And so I didn't really find anyone who checked those boxes. It was either like you could get yourself a personal trainer or a nutritionist or functional medicine expert, but it was like not someone who really had all of those things. And when I found your information, I was intrigued because I was like, oh, wait, like, so I don't have to hire like 3 folks to help me. Like I could actually go to one person that has all of this information. So
Yeah.
that's what I was referring to, someone like you.
Okay. Yeah. And that's a really good point. I've had a similar experience actually with my daughter's health because I don't even know if I've shared this with you, Lauren. Maybe I have, but my younger daughter has a lot of food allergies and like severe eczema, and she was a really crappy sleeper the first 3.5 years of her 4-year life so far. And you know, when we were dealing with when her skin was really, really bad, I was working with her pediatrician, a dermatologist, an allergist, and sometimes their information is like they would start pointing fingers at each other, like, well, you need to go see them now because I can't do anything else for you. And so that's kind of, you know, a good point too, especially with functional medicine, that we kind of look at the whole body system, you know, instead of different things in silos.
Exactly. Yeah, I was worried that if I focus on one person versus the other, then essentially I wouldn't be getting that full picture. And it's like, you know, they're not going to be talking to each other. So am I going to be getting conflicting information that's going to set me back, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what were some of the big things that you learned about yourself through our work together, either mentally or physically?
I think some of the things that I learned, I think it helps me personally to have something where I am accountable. I tend to make a lot of excuses for myself. Don't have time in the day for this. Like, how does anyone? And then when you and I would start talking, I started realizing that it was such a small change, and it was much more like you essentially like broke things down so it was more digestible, for a lack of a better word, so that I realized that like I needed things like that. I needed someone to like really like break it down for me, because for me personally, I get really overwhelmed with the idea of like working out. Well, that's like such a broad concept. Like, what does that mean? How often should I be doing it? What is it, you know, like I asked you, like, how am I doing? Should I be doing strength training? Should I be doing cardio? Should I, like, how many times? How long? Like, does it need to be the first thing in the morning? Like, I'm someone who has a million questions, and I just wasn't getting that information on my own. And I needed someone to hold me accountable, and then B, like break it down for me. So then I was able to, again, digest it better and just feel like I was accomplishing something. And so I felt like with working with you, I felt like I was actually able to, like, each time we talked, celebrate something, versus if I was on my own, I would just be beating myself up that I didn't do enough, you know? So I felt like I learned that I really needed that, in order to keep moving. And then that I actually do like to work out. So that's, that's a new concept. Because even when I did it when I was younger and before kids, I really always hated it. But I think it was because I hadn't found something I really liked. And so that was something I figured out, was like, okay, this is something I actually can do and I like to do, and it's something for myself. And I figured out better ways to integrate things that I needed specifically for me to feel better with stress management. So I think that helped.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think, a lot of the things you said, I think resonate with a lot of women, especially working moms, right? That number one, we put ourselves on the back burner a lot, especially right now. And so it can be challenging and overwhelming to try to figure out, what you can do. So, just a couple things, I think you know this, but in terms of just for people who might be watching, in terms of my coaching philosophy, number one is always stress management, right? Because we need to create that space in order to work on something new. If we try to pile on a bunch of stuff on top of a life that already feels really hard, that's not going to be sustainable. And that's what we really want, is to figure out something that's going to work for you, right? So, and then like you said, like kind of breaking it down. Okay, well, we're going to start here with this little thing and then build on it, just like you did. I think you started working out twice a week, and then you got up to like 4 days a week, right?
Yeah.
Built your confidence, like both physically and mentally too. Like there's a big mental component to, fitness also, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then you did some work with the functional medicine doctor also, right?
I did. Yeah. I mean, that was a separate piece, obviously, that, again, was more specific to me, but it did really help because I was able to find out that I did have something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which sounds really yucky. But sadly, that is my reality. I did have that. And so it was good to find that out and to see that I actually needed, specific supplements for my, system in order to heal that. Because I think that's one thing that's like, I was beating my head up against a wall. It's like, why am I not losing weight? And obviously so much changed when we started implementing everything together, you and I, with working out and food and all that. But I think there's a component when, like you had talked about, and you taught me so much about that as well, like that if your gut is, it needs to be in alignment and you need to heal that first, or else there's a lot of things that could be essentially like in your way of getting the results that you want. And I didn't really think about that. So I'm really glad that I did do that. And it's made me feel so much better, from just like a GI perspective. So
yeah, that's great. And I think, it's good that you mentioned that too, because I think a lot of people don't even know what small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, is.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but it was either.
Yeah, but that's actually a big driver for IBS. So, if anyone's watching that has IBS, you might want to look into that. We can talk about it to figure out what's going on, for sure. Okay, so tell me, how are you feeling now? Like, well, if you look back to like before we started working together versus now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel so much better. I'm obviously a work in progress. I, would love to lose more weight, but I mean, within 3 months, I lost 16 pounds. So that was huge for me, because not only from like an aesthetic perspective and like vanity perspective and looking better, but I have herniated discs as well. And so for anyone out there who has herniated discs, my doctor had said, you need to lose weight. And he was like, I can't be very delicate about it, but like, you just need to lose weight, because all of this pressure and more weight ends up not really helping the situation with all of your back pain. And so that's really decreased since I lost that weight, which has helped tremendously. And again, I'd love to lose more weight, but it's a work in progress. So I'm feeling good about that now. I'm feeling really accomplished that I'm actually working out again and enjoying it. And because of how, what we talked about in our scheduling and everything with, me personally, I really never knew that I could work out for 30 minutes and actually get any results. I really always thought you had to work out for like an hour or two, or, like you see like all those people, like influencers and stuff. And it's like, you're like, oh my God, how do I get to that point? And clearly I'm not, I'm not in a model body. I don't think I ever will be. I'm okay with that. But I didn't realize that all of that was still something that I could do within my own schedule and get actual results. So I feel really good about that. And I'd say the biggest work in progress is stress management. I was using an app before that I had to try to meditate, and I felt like I just never was like connecting with it. And then you recommended the Calm app, which I was like, oh gosh, here goes another app that probably will not help me. But I actually love it. And there's like so many different components of that app that have really helped. I really like so many things. And what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to work more on stress management, and I'm feeling good about where I'm at. I think it's just always hard because it's like, for me, it's never ending. It's like, it wasn't just a 3 or 4 month process. I feel like this is like a lifetime change, because if I don't continuously make myself, accountable for all of this, I'm just going to slip back into old ways. And like, even over Thanksgiving, I told Rachel I had some health stuff going on with my son, and my daughter needs speech therapy, and my mom's not doing great. And so it's like all these personal family issues have cropped up, and all of a sudden, like, my husband would say like, hey, do you want some pizza? And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's just eat some pizza. But I think what's nice is that because we've continued to talk, you and I, it's like it holds me accountable, versus like before, I think I would just easily slip back into old ways and be like, yeah, I feel better now. Like, I'm sure I can go back to eating gluten and dairy, even though I know like that's not good for me personally. But I feel like that's really important. And I'm glad that we've continued to talk, because it's making it so I feel like it's still in the forefront of my mind that like I do need to take care of myself, and I do need to continue on all of this, and continue on the process.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll mention too, just for anyone that's watching. So Lauren and I started working together, meeting twice a month, right? So every 2 weeks we would check in. And she was like a great client. She was so compliant with, the diet changes, which I think that was really impactful for you, right? In terms of
It
starting
was.
the weight loss process, really implementing an anti-inflammatory diet was really helpful. So your brain fog and all that is gone now too, right?
It's gone. Yeah.
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 So I know we've talked about that before, but yeah. So now I've created kind of a new service, which is this membership program. So for anyone who's interested that maybe can't afford to do or doesn't have the time to do the one-on-one sessions, there is a membership service. So you still get access to me and can ask questions without, having that time commitment or that financial commitment of meetings. So that's something that Lauren and I are continuing to stay engaged with on now too, which is awesome. Yeah. Okay. So what would you say is your favorite takeaway from us working together?
I was thinking about this. The thing is everything that you gave me, the knowledge that you gave me is huge, right? I just feel like that's just like, from like what to be eating and how to eat and timing of it and mindfully eating and the working out and what's where all of those things. There's just so many layers to your approach. I just think it's so invaluable, the knowledge that you've given me. And so I feel like that's one of my favorite things I've gained from it. But like, I'd probably say like my favorite thing was just like talking with you, because it feels like it feels like you're talking to a friend. And so I feel like, like it's really been nice working with you, because you're always listening to anything that's going on with me and really, again, trying to like tailor your approach. And so I've just really enjoyed working with you. I feel like it's like I'm actually finally putting myself first. And I feel like you're like right there partnering with me on it, which helps so much, and not feeling so alone in the process. Like, how do I even start this? And so I think that's probably my favorite thing that I've taken away from all of this, besides all of the knowledge that I've gained as well.
I love that. And I love too, you're kind of like a dream client, because
I
you
wouldn't
took
say that.
everything in and, you implemented everything that, and we did kind of take things, a little bit slowly, right? You really embraced
Oh
the
yeah.
diet change stuff right away. And I think you
Yeah.
saw the positives of that, which really motivated you to move forward. But everything, you really embraced. And so that was, really awesome to kind of see and like be a part of your transformation. So thank you for letting me be a part of that. I really
Oh,
appreciate
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thanks for taking the time to be here. So just, an example, guys, that even if you are a busy working mom with small children at home and you feel really overwhelmed, it actually can be helpful to invest in yourself this way, right? Because you kind of can learn things from a different perspective and get some awesome results too. So give yourself a pat on the back, Lauren. You're doing a good job. Well, thanks
Now,
again.
anyone who wants to babysit my children, please raise your hand.
There we go. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And guys, for anyone that's interested, the Happy Healthy Holidays program is kicking off on Friday this week, so in a couple of days. So if you would like someone to kind of hold your hand a little bit and also be a part of this awesome group, I think, Lauren, you're going to be participating in the program
Mhm.
too, right? So I think there's about 10 of us right now that are in the program. So if you're interested, come on over. It's a great way to get things started. It's been a really tough year in a lot of different ways. So this is a great way to make a little investment in yourself to end 2020 on a high note and then start 2021 with our best foot forward. So would love to have you with us in the program. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, again for being here. Super excited for you for all of, both mentally and spiritually, as well as physically, like all of the awesome things that you have done and are doing for yourself. It's really awesome. So thanks for being here and sharing with everybody today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your Wellness Wednesday. We'll see you next time.